HealthWish is a series of conversations about the state of healthcare in New York City's fabulous fifth borough, Staten Island. Our goal is to raise issues, raise awareness, and raise health, because when we raise health, we raise everyone. Port Richmond High School Principal Andrew Greenfield and Dr. Brahim Ardolic, Executive Director of Staten Island University Hospital, are kicking it back old school, reminiscing on their own high school days at Port Richmond High School and Tottenville High School. The two institutions have partnered with a program, PTech, to encourage students today to further their school careers. Join us in the principal's office to learn more.
Hey Staten Island, welcome to HealthWish. And for the first time in my life, I've been called to the principal's office. I'm here in Port Richmond High School with Principal Andrew Greenfield.
Welcome back to Port Richmond, Dr. Ardolic.
Yeah, it's really a pleasure being here. It's really great to be in this amazing place and to actually really look to see what kind of difference we can make in young people's lives. And I'm really excited to be here with you.
Well, I have to tell you, I can't say enough about what you, Staten Island University Hospital and Northwell Health, has done for Port Richmond High School. The opening of our school-based health center to this new PTech 9 through 14 program, it's absolutely transforming kids' lives. And I thank you guys for everything you've done.
Yeah, so actually that's a great place to start. The health center has been around now for quite some time, and it's a partnership that we've had for a while. Why don't you tell us a little more about that?
So I want to say we're in about year 8 or 10 of our health center being opened. And, our school is a school that, minority population, poor socioeconomic status, who have really struggled to get quality health care. And when we had the opportunity to open the health center, 2 physicians, 2 nurse practitioners, social workers, full blood lab, it's absolutely transformed kids' lives. We now have kids coming to school to see the doctor instead of staying at home and missing school because they're not feeling well. So we have about 70% of our students currently utilizing all of the services in the health center, including reproductive services. Our athletes are getting vaccinations and physicals. It really gave us an opportunity that's something that our students never had access to. And it's all free too.
That's an amazing partnership. It's been a great opportunity for us to actually get connected to the community, and I think it's one of the things that's led us to so many other opportunities together, and I think we'll definitely talk about that. I did want to take a second though and just mention a couple of things about you and about we actually have a lot in common. Right, so a lot of similarities. So we're both kids from Staten Island, and I do think it's important. One of the reasons that I feel so strongly about having a presence in area high schools is because modeling, whether you go to the most affluent or to the most underserved school in Staten Island, having people to model after and having people that you can actually see that were you at one point is an incredibly important thing, and I believe very strongly in it. And I think telling people your story, like I've been so honest about my story with people, I think is really important. But tell me about the kid from Staten Island story.
So it's probably the thing that I'm most proud of. Born in Brooklyn, raised my entire life in Staten Island, product of the public school system, single parent household. I came to Port Richmond High School as a student, and I will tell you that the foundation of the teachers that I had here as a student really helped transform my life and probably helped guide me in my next direction. I actually attended college on Staten Island as well, went to the College of Staten Island. When I graduated college, found a teaching job in Brooklyn, absolutely fell in love with the profession. Wasn't something I planned on doing. I saw myself with bigger aspirations. I was going to law school, but I fell into teaching, fell in love with it. I was a history teacher for 9 years in Brooklyn. And I still remember 2001, the principal of Port Richmond High School called me up and said, I'm looking for an assistant principal. I heard you're a graduate from here. Came down and interviewed, never looked back. I was assistant principal from 2001 to 2018 when I was named principal in July of 2018. And what's great is that I could stand in the auditorium and talk to our students and talk to them about the fact that I sat in those chairs, I sat in those classrooms, I walked these halls, I played on the field, and it makes me relatable, and I just want to serve the kids in the North Shore of Staten Island.
It's an amazing story. I mean, you're still such a huge part of the North Shore of Staten Island. You've done everything these children have done, and I think the positive modeling they can see what success can look like, what a life can look like in a super positive way, and to give back to your community. And those mentors and those people that affect how you think. I mean, I look back at, Tottenville High School when I was a freshman in 1987, and I remember, meeting my chemistry teacher, right? And I remember how much of a hard time she gave me. And I remember her telling me it's not enough to be smart. You actually have to be dedicated and work hard because you're not going to get through this if you don't. And I frankly don't know that I would have, gone to medical school if it wasn't for Mrs. Donahue. She's one of the scariest individuals I've ever met in my life, and yet one of the people I most respect to this day, and as somebody I kept in touch with until her death. And there's so many people like that in my high school that I remember and that positively modeled and taught me what it was to be a responsible adult. And it's not just the people that are in your house, right? So I think it's incredibly important that to add yourself to the role models in this community.
It's funny that you say 1987, because it was Mr. Pignatelli, 1987, American government. He was my teacher in American government. And I always remembered Pignatelli's class because it was so different than any other class. Nowadays, education has changed a lot.
Yeah.
But back in the 80s, we all sat in rows and we stared at the teacher at the front of the room who lectured to us. Mr. Pignatelli did things different. He had us facing each other, talking about current public policy issues, debating, arguing. And when I became a history teacher, I wanted to be Mr. Pignatelli.
That's a great story. So talk about being relatable. We were just talking earlier about the fact that we also have another thing in common, that we grew up in the same era, kind of. And like a lot of the same music. And I have to ask, if you were going to say what's the product of Staten Island or the song that you grew up that had the most impact, you were the artist, who would that be for you?
We'd have to go Wu-Tang Clan, Protect Your Neck.
Yeah. I still play it. I actually still get funny looks because I can't help but roll down the windows and raise the volume just a little bit when Protect Your Neck comes on, and I get some strange looks as I'm driving around, the 50-year-old man, but it's just such a powerful thing.
I joke around with the students here. We run a weekly podcast and radio show, and they just recently interviewed me about my musical tastes. And when I said to the kids, well, I'm a hip-hop historian, they all looked at me like I had three heads, because 100%. They just didn't think it was possible for the principal of their school to like hip-hop.
It's a part of my upbringing. I remember when all those songs came out. I remember going and buying the cassette tape when KRS-One put a new tape out. I remember all that stuff, and it's just a part of who you are. Makes you even more relatable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fast forward to talking about creating opportunities and giving people more of a look at what their future can look like. I'm incredibly proud of SIUH and Northwell being a part of the PTech program and what it can mean to young children. Why don't you tell us what PTech is?
Yeah, so I actually think that the PTech program, it's going to be my crowning achievement as principal here at Port Richmond High School. It was July of 2018. I had just become principal, and then Superintendent Anthony Ludico and Borough President Jimmy Otto approached me about this new program that they wanted to create. And I had never heard of a PTech grade 9 through 14 program before. There are only 9 in the city, and we're the only one in Staten Island. And basically what PTech is, it's rooted in a technology program for non-honors students. And that's the first thing that really attracted me to this program. I want every child to have an opportunity to succeed. Students with disabilities, students who come from another country. And that's what this PTech program has done for our students. We currently have our 3rd cohort. In the PTech program, students join this program as 9th graders, and they kind of have the opportunity to follow 2 tracks. They can follow a computer science track or a health science track. And in that track, they take for their first 3 years, really their high school requirements. And then they begin taking college classes in the middle of their junior year while doing internships through organizations like Staten Island University Hospital and Northwell Health, where they're getting real job experience and training. At the end of 12th grade, they graduate high school, but then continue 2 more years with a free college education from the College of Staten Island, where they'll get an associate's degree in liberal sciences or computer programming, free of charge, no matter what their economic status is or what their immigration status is. So it really is an amazing program. The other thing that's great is statistics show that the attrition rate in the first year of college is so great because students lose the supports that they had in high school.
Yep.
And then they go to college and they can't handle the freedom. They don't have that guidance counselor, that teacher, that assistant principal that's following them. And in the PTech program, the high school counselors and coordinators follow them through the 6 years and through the associate's program to lend them those extra supports.
So when I found out about the PTech program, there was a question about, hey, why would you want to do this? It's really kind of technical. And the reality is, for me, this was such an incredibly important opportunity to teach people about other careers in healthcare, right? So when people think about careers in healthcare, they think about being a physician, they think about being a nurse, being a physician's assistant, or being a nurse practitioner, or something that is directly what we call patient-facing, forward-facing. I think while that will always be somewhere like 70% of our staff, in a building the size of ours and a footprint the size of ours, 30% of our staff is 2,000 people. And those other 2,000 people have a variety of jobs, and some of them are incredibly technical. A lot of them are incredibly technical. So to give these kids that may not 100% know what they want to do with their lives, and to expose them to what does it mean to be an ultrasound technician, to what does it mean to be a lab technician, to what is an OR tech, what are these careers that you can make a life with and that are wonderful things to do, and yet the average person just doesn't know what they are. So for us, helping a few kids that actually just go into computer science is great, and then taking a few other kids and exposing them to all these potential careers that aren't direct patient care but really help human beings. Because the reality is, I was an ER doc for a long time. If I don't have an ultrasound technician, if I don't have a lab assistant, I can't do my job. And there are so many people standing behind me, helping me take care of people, that the average person who's not in healthcare doesn't realize who those people are. So that was a huge thing for us.
Join us next time to continue exploring the PTech program with Port Richmond High School and Staten Island University Hospital. HealthWish wishes to thank our special guest, Principal Andrew Greenfield. We're very interested in your health wish. Contact us at healthwish@northwell.edu. Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again soon.